Howdy y'all. I am going to do some beef tips in a nice gravy, and I suggest it served over rice, but I'm just going to show you how I do beef tips. So this is a couple of pounds of beef stew meat, and I usually like to cut it up a little bit more than what it comes. So I'll just go through here, and if there are any big pieces, I go ahead and cut them up a little bit smaller so they'll be bite size, you know. Nothing too fancy, just getting it all about the same size. That also helps it cook at the same rate when everything's the same size. And I don't worry too much about cutting it with or against the grain. I'm just cutting it up a little bit here. So this is a slow cooker meal, and I'm going to put it on. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to put it on now, and we'll eat about 7:30 tonight. So it'll get to cook about between 6 and 7 hours. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, I have my cast iron skillet on a medium heat, and I'm going to, let me get this cloth. Okay, I'm going to add some manteca. Let's see, which way is my camera? There you are. This is just beef tallow or lard. So that is what I'm going to cook my stew meat in. So I'll put, I don't know, probably 1/4 cup in there. Okay, some other things while we're waiting on that we're going to be using. Let me just go through. We've got the stew meat. We've got the beef tallow. I also use a slow cooker liner. This is the Crock-Pot brand. They're all, you know, pretty much the same. You just want to be sure you get the BPA free so that your food doesn't taste like plastic, you know. So I've already got one of those in my cooker. We're going to be using an onion, about a cup, a little less than a cup, all-purpose flour, mushroom gravy, onion gravy, cream of mushroom soup, some canned mushrooms, and then just some seasoning. This is my own seasoning blend. It's mostly Cavender's, and I've got a couple other things in there. So first we want to make sure and dry this meat. You don't want wet beef when you're going to be frying it. Not only does it pop all over the place and make a big mess, but you don't get that nice browning that you want. You get steaming. So we don't want this to be wet. You want to dry off any excess water or juice or blood or whatever. I had another light here. Does that help? Maybe that helps. Okay, so we're going to season this. We've still got our beef tallow is melting over there. We're going to season our stew meat. Okay. And then we're just going to take our flour. This is regular all-purpose flour. Just going to put a little bit on there. And we're just going to toss that a little. It doesn't have to be coated. We're just wanting a little bit on there, because this will help make a nice, good tasting gravy. It'll be lovely. So we just kind of toss these until they've all got a little bit of flour on them somewhere. They don't have to be completely coated. And we want our pan to be hot. We're also going to need some hot water and some cold water. Okay. Now, I'll make sure this gets warm. I'm going to set this to the side while that heats up. Okay. And now we're going to cut up an onion. We're going to cook this in with our stew meat. Okay. And get rid of this. Be right back. You know, I guess if I'm going to be cooking over here, I should get me a little trash can over here. This is feeling good and hot. I'm going to go ahead and add my beef over here. Might not be quite as hot as I want it, but it's almost there. I'm going to try and separate this. It wants to stick together, but we're not going to let it stick together. We're going to cook it separately. Okay, turn that on medium-high heat. And chop this onion up real quick. I'm going to cut it, you know, not real small. And just slices. And you know, if you want it smaller, cut it smaller. If you don't like onions, don't put them in there. If you don't like mushrooms, you know, I use onion gravy and mushroom gravy. You can just use brown gravy or au jus if you don't care for brown gravy, or you can make your own gravy. This is just how I do it. So we're going to turn this up a little bit. Now we're not trying to fully cook these. We are just trying to brown them on the outside. We just want that browned taste in our beef tips. Okay, so we're going to put the onions in with it. And there we go. So, now I'm going to mix up our gravies. So I'm going to take, you know, about a cup of water. This is cold water, or, you know, tap water, room temperature water. It's filtered, but it's room temperature. And into that I'm going to put both packs of gravy, the mushroom gravy and also the onion gravy. Okay, I'm going to mix that together a little bit, just until it's combined. Okay. Now I'm going to add the can of cream of mushroom. And this can of mushrooms, but I'm going to drain it first. Okay, let me drain the liquid off of this mushroom. Okay, yeah, so a can of mushrooms. And we'll mix this together. You can put the mushrooms in here if you want to and cook them a little bit. But we're not really trying to cook everything. We're just trying to get that brown taste. Okay, so this is our gravy base. And we've got some hot water here also. stir this around a little bit. Looking good. I'm going to put a little extra black pepper just because we like, that's a little salt. Let me put black pepper. Put the black pepper on there. Y'all like my little Hootie Owl salt and pepper shakers? I love them. They're so cute. So yeah, we got this browning up nicely. And you don't have to cook it. We're just getting the flour browned and the meat browned a little bit, so it doesn't have to be fully cooked. Just makes it taste a little better when you brown it. Okay, and I'm going to suggest when this is done, after it's done cooking, to serve it with some prepared long grain parboiled rice. I like this kind of rice because it cooks up nice and fluffy and separate. And I will make a couple of cups of this and serve the beef tips with the gravy on top of it. So this is going to cook for probably 5 or 6 hours in the slow cooker. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my slow cooker on high. And while it's warming up, I'm going to put a little boiling water in there. And I've already got my slow cooker liner bag in my slow cooker. So I probably put about, I don't know, probably a good cup of water, hot water in there. So I'm going to pour my gravy mixture in with that hot water. Just like that. And so now we have some nice gravy, and I'm going to cook this. I'll put the meat in here when it gets brown, and then I'll cook it. I'll bring it up to a boil on high, and then I'll turn it down to low, and I'll cook it on low all day. And then after I've cooked it on low all day, I'll take the lid off, turn it back on high, and reduce it until the sauce or the gravy is as thick as I want it. Okay. So, I think that's about good. Get my little glove here. We're going to go ahead and put our beef tips in our gravy, just like that. Try not to splash it. And get all of that goodie. This stuff that's stuck to the pan here is what you would normally make your gravy with, but we don't need it because we have all that good gravy base already in here. So here we are. Beautiful beef tips and gravy. And like I said, this is going to come to a boil. Then I'm going to turn it on low. Then I'm going to cook it for 5 or 6 hours. Then I will take this off, turn it back on high, and reduce the sauce until it's ready, and serve it with some nice rice. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoy this dish if you try it. And until next time, y'all be sweet.